Hi, Professor Charles here again. So you're in this legal writing class, and we're talking about editing, and I'm sure you're loving that. You probably feel the same way that this United States Senator feels about his legal writing class.
Yesterday, I got, and everybody got, the 7 pages of your direct testimony that's now part of the record here. And the first, I read it, then I read it again, and all I could think was, number one, how much I hated the class of legal writing when I was in law school. And you were the guy that probably got the A after reading this. So I find it clear, I find it concise, and having been a prosecutor for a number of years and handling hundreds, maybe thousands of cases and read police reports, investigative reports, this is as good as it gets.
So even though that senator apparently is suffering from some kind of law school PTSD, it's clear that he enjoyed what the former FBI Director Comey wrote. And this senator said that it was clear and concise. That's our goal for writing. We want it to be clear and concise. And we want to avoid where the reader is in the middle of reading something we wrote and has to yell, "Oh, the humanity."
This is so luxurious. Yeah.
Okay. You once, twice, 3 times a lady. What the hell was that? Double bucket.
I know, it's a bit dramatic, but anyway, I couldn't resist. So how can we avoid frustrating our readers? And here's the simple process that I use, and I think that probably most legal writers use, at least the ones that care. So first of all, you write whatever you need to write. With emotion, that's what we're looking at here, and that's what you're writing in advocacy. You're probably going to take the initial document from somewhere else. Okay, we do that all the time where we steal a motion or a document from another file, from another attorney. We call up a friend from law school. We find it on ICL. We find it in some random treatise, whatever. But then you adapt it to your client's situation, and then you need to edit the document and make it presentable and enjoyable for the reader to read. So what I always do is the first step is I read through each word and I ask myself, what are the working words? What words do we actually need to keep? And I underline those words. So we definitely need to identify the defendant and the name of the defendant, Mir Airlines. We need to identify the law, that's required in a motion. What's the rule that you're acting under? And then we need some language about what we're asking for, right? What do we want the court to do? So we then question everything else. So the green lines represent the working words, and then we question everything else. Now comes is old language that nobody really uses anymore, so we can get rid of that. Buying through the attorneys, that's obvious from the caption and who signed it, so we don't need that. A request in support of, well, duh, that's redundant of what you say below there. Ask this court to grant. So that's redundant. It's in 2 different paragraphs here. You're asking for the same thing. Well, in one you're requesting, and in the other you're asking. So you don't need that. And then this old legalese here, wherefore, you don't need that, obviously. And then you don't need to repeat defendant Mir Airlines Inc. You don't need to repeat that again. We get it. So look at all that beautiful red, which means we can excise all of that information. So here we can go from basically a 70-word motion down to a nice 20-word motion. And I got to tell you, from working in the court system for a couple of years, judges prefer this. They read so much stuff. This is what they want to see. Now, another legal writing instructor, Ross Guberman, pointed this one out. It's written by Justice Kennedy, and I'm actually surprised that he put this in a legal opinion. But anyway, it's got some issues here. You can pause the video and read it. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, so one of the first things that I noticed here is, this is like the introductory paragraph where he's supposed to state what the issue is and put a finer point on it. But the issue isn't stated down here until 6 sentences in, basically. The issue to be resolved is way buried under a whole bunch of stuff. And one way to describe this paragraph is that there's more noise than signal. Back in the days when they used a lot of radio communication, they would say we need more signal to noise, meaning we want to hear more of what's being transmitted and less of the fuzzy, staticky noise. So we always want more signal than noise. So if we do our two-process step here, we start by first underlining everything that's really important, what we really need to keep to frame the issue here. And then we can question everything else. Okay, so that's beautiful here. So we're going, this is 155 words in the original, and then Ross rewrote this to be quite a bit less. This is more than a 50% improvement on efficiency. So you tell me, a judge who has tired eyes and is tired of reading brief after brief after brief, would they want to read what's on the left or what's on the right? Probably what's on the right here. So when I do presentations to a lot of government employees and other groups, and whenever I show them this, there's always a few people in the audience who say, I don't have time to edit like that. I have these deadlines I have to meet. I have to get stuff out the door. And I think that's phony baloney, because your readers don't have time either to read junk, like that. So you got to put them first. And then the other thing is, if you put the time in up front to edit like this, your brain will become more efficient. So your first drafts will be less wordy. So you won't have to spend as much time editing and revising. You'll always have to edit and revise, but you'll cut out how many additional drafts you have to go through to get to a good work product. And just keep in mind, we owe this to our readers. This is the writer's duty, is to present information in a way that makes it enjoyable for them to read. And then just keep in mind, you don't want your reader to scream like Newman. All right, see you later.